Earlier this week on Instagram, I asked our amazing Phase Instagram followers to ask us anything for this episode of the podcast. So Molly and Kieran, we're going to get right into it. The first question I have today, it's a very sensible one, following on from last episode of the podcast. Someone would like to know an update on our New Year's resolutions and how they're going. So Kieran, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, Happy New Year. Is it too late for that? Seems
Definitely too late.
Oh, okay. Apologies. So yeah, an update on my New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution was to get better sleep. And it was a bit of a bumpy start, I think, probably coming out of that sort of Christmas, New Year time, all that time of change. But it's been getting better, much better. I've been tracking it. I do find that actually if I track things, that helps me. I've been doing little things like setting a bedtime reminder on my phone. I'm quite geeky. We've got a few smart things in the house, so even like the lights get dimmer. And like our hallway light turns off at a certain time, and that's that reminder, bedtime. So yeah, that's really been helping. And I think also being really aware of what I'm doing leading up to going to bed has been helpful.
Nice. So it's still going well then.
Mm.
So you must be one of, I can't remember the statistic exactly, but it was something ridiculous in terms of the number of people that give up on the New Year's resolutions. So you're one of the like 3% or whatever it was that make it to, you're nearly in March now.
Well, I appreciate that, James. Yeah, well, like we said in that last episode, I'm a big fan of them. And I like to sort of have a goal, like to have something to work towards. And actually, I try it often. It doesn't always work, but if I put my mind to it, I want to try my best. And I think much of like any habit, if you can just start doing or any New Year's resolution, if you can get it to become a habit, that's where you start to see the real gold.
And I guess now 2 months in, you're probably at the point where all these like sleep habits you've got have almost become ingrained habits for you as well.
Yeah, a bit. You know, there are. I do find that I start to get tired earlier at night. That's because my body's getting into a cadence of sleep, which is good.
Yeah, definitely. And Molly, if I can remember rightly, your New Year's resolution, was it something to do with reading? How many books have you read so far, 2025?
What a great question, James. So my target for the year is 3 books. I have read 0 books. I'm being completely honest. It's an honest podcast, right? It's a safe space. I haven't read any books yet. My plan is to read a book a term, and we're already in the second half of this term, and I haven't got very far with it. And some of the things I have done maybe is procrastination from that, is I've spoken before on the podcast about putting those things in place so that you can see them. So putting a bookshelf up so books are kind of part of my house. I actually do have a bookshelf in my house now. So books are up and about and like all around. But yeah, I've struggled with my New Year's resolution so far. I think just because kind of since the new year, I've had other goals kind of creep up that I've kind of probably focused on more. But it's definitely something that I want to refocus on. And actually, just even recording this podcast and talking about it is a helpful step in that process. Kind of being reminded, being kind of held accountable to goals that you may or may not have reached or worked towards yet. So even just talking about it now is helpful and a good reminder to kind of, get back on some of that stuff.
Nice one. I appreciate the honesty, Molly. And I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate to that. I'm sure a few people will be listening to this thinking, I maybe need to get back on track with my New Year's resolution. But it's really cool that you've kind of noticed that you've fallen behind on it but haven't given up and are maybe starting to adapt things as well. So that's really good.
Yeah.
In terms of my New Year's resolution, guys, I know you're all dying to hear about this. I am still doing my gratitude journal. And I actually probably noticed how amazing it is last week because I was quite ill, had a chest infection at half term, unfortunately. But I still managed to gratitude journal while I was ill. And I felt that, like, normally when I'm ill, I get really down. It's really annoying because I can't run, I can't play football. But I noticed I managed to keep my spirits a little bit higher than I normally would. And even noticed things like I was grateful for getting a doctor's appointment. Or Izzy, my fiance, she managed to not catch what I had. And I was grateful for that as well. So I managed to notice that even while I was ill, there were still things to be grateful for. So I'm still continuing my gratitude journal. On the other hand, we have started watching TV again. And as you guys will know, I have already, having gone from not watching any Traitors ever, seen all 3 Traitors seasons from the
All
UK
to nothing,
Traitors.
yeah.
Yeah, all to nothing, unfortunately, on that one. So the next question we've got, guys, is how do we relax? Molly, do you want to kick us off with that one?
Yeah, that's a great question. And kind of when I was thinking about this question, kind of 2 separate things came into my mind. Some things came to mind around just like generally at like the end of a day or like the weekend, like what are the things that I do that are just like for me that I used to just relax and kind of cut out. But then I also thought about actually in those moments where I feel a bit more on edge or a bit more panicky, like how do I just calm myself down? Like how do I just relax in those more like short-term intense moments? So in that stuff, I do a lot of breathing exercises and techniques, not always super structured, but even just having a moment, taking a breath, having a few breaths, stepping away from something. So I think in moments where I feel like, overwhelmed, or that different emotions just kind of taken over me a little bit, like that's something I do to kind of relax myself in those moments. And I find that so then my body calms down and then my brain kind of calms down not long after. But in terms of just like general, what do I do to relax, to chill out? I was thinking about this for a little while, and I think the answer is cooking. Now I'm an like average cook. I'm not like a master chef, nor do I just never cook. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. But actually at the end of the day, when I get home, that is something I really enjoy doing. Either put the radio on, listen to a podcast, put some music on, or sometimes just do it quietly by myself. It's just something I enjoy doing. And I just feel like it really relaxes me and takes me from kind of thinking about things, calms my brain down, kind of out of work mode into kind of chill mode for the evening.
What about you, Kieran?
Yeah, interesting. Just like Molly, I think when you ask, it's a question like how do you relax? I think a couple of things instantly come to mind. Like, talk to a friend or maybe read a book. But then when actually I thought about it, spent a bit of time, I realised I'm actually quite an active relaxer. My idea of relaxing is probably doing stuff. Now, I suppose doing stuff at my own pace, but I quite like, I've been, the last few years, been trying to learn like DIY. Like, I like to relax by doing something opposite to what I do normally, sort of during the day. And so, yeah, doing DIY, or I really enjoy watching YouTube videos about how to do something. And so I'd really enjoy that sort of stuff. The things that I do sometimes when it's like I recognise that you can't always be going, can't always do, whether that's, because I also enjoy sport and things like that. The things that I do that actually help me to be still and relax are films. So I really enjoy watching films. And also a fire. We've got a fire at home, and I love that because it makes me, like, there's a whole sort of journey to preparing the fire. But then just sitting there, I would happily just sit and watch it and, enjoy that warmth and watching the flames. That really, really helps me sort of still and calm. And often I will, I'll do that and just read a book. And so I have that sort of complete opposite. I'm either sort of busy doing active stuff or keeping my brain learning, thinking, or just sitting and being still.
We know in the Phase office how much you love fires, Kieran. We hear about it all the time. And Molly, I'm looking forward to your appearance on MasterChef.
It's going to be great.
It's coming.
Working on it.
Something that I do to relax, Kieran, just like you, I'm quite an active relaxer. And I love running. And I think for me, like, that's one of my times where I can kind of go and be by myself in my own head, maybe process some thoughts, some emotions, and not necessarily have to be talking to other people. I feel like I'm fairly extroverted. So I like a lot of like stimulation from people and stuff. But I think when I run, I'm just kind of on my own and able to maybe think things through and process different things that have happened. Also like playing football, but I feel like that's probably less relaxing because I'm then with other people and there's all this other stuff going on. So for me, definitely running. And we speak about movement changes emotion. And I suppose sometimes when we're relaxing, it doesn't necessarily have to be relaxing physically, but it might be giving ourselves a break from certain emotions or things that we've been thinking about mentally. So it's maybe relaxing emotionally or mentally. And then another thing that I would say I do to relax, if I am trying to physically relax, is I love a good documentary, particularly a documentary series. Like on anything that I find interesting, usually a sports documentary. So I've absolutely binge watched the Six Nations documentaries recently. And then this week I've been watching a documentary about Black Hawk Down and like the story behind what happened in Somalia. And I will just get hooked on those and I just can kind of zone out and then I guess physically rest. And my brain just goes and kind of on this rabbit hole of stuff I'm interested in. So definitely documentaries for me. Our next question, and now this is kind of changing tack a little bit. We've gone to slightly more silly questions for a little while here. What do we think is the most overrated chocolate bar?
I love our Instagram followers for this question because I think it's such a good question. And I'm going to give them a potentially controversial answer. So just be prepared. I'm going to go for Mars bar.
What? Yeah, no, I actually agree with that. I was really
You
struggling.
don't agree?
I actually do agree.
No, when it's most overrated, no way. Like, no, it's not my favourite. I'll give you that. However, like it's got layers to it. It's got something going about it. Molly, I want to know why.
I mean, it's just too much. Like, it's just too, like, it's not as though too much going on. Like, I actually don't mind a little mini Mars bar, but the actual Mars bar It's just too like, not even chewy, just like too sticky and thick and filling. I don't know. There's something about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I ain't saying no if someone's offering me a Mars bar. Like, I will absolutely eat one. Yeah. But I just don't think it's as good as everyone makes it out to be, as like the best chocolate bar ever. It's just not true.
As soon as you said that, I realised I don't think I've ever gone to the shop and bought a Mars bar. Like, I've never been like, I fancy a chocolate bar, I'm going to go and buy a Mars bar.
Exactly.
I'll eat a Mars bar if it's in the celebrations, but
yeah,
I'd never go and just, I need a Mars bar. I'd never feel like that ever in my life.
yeah, I can't relate.
Kieran's shaking his head.
I'm getting a Ripple every day of the week.
I cannot believe you've dissed a Mars bar compared to a Ripple. Oh my word. Now again, I'm not Mars's biggest fan. I'm not sponsored. I can guarantee this is not a paid promotion of Mars bar. If Mars want to send me some Mars bars, I'm keen. But it's, I just think I get your thing. It's got a lot going on and it's quite chewy. The thing I like about a Mars bar is if I have a whole one, I'm not actually eating the whole thing at once. It's like I'm doing the Nutella, but Nutella has half a banana between sets. I'm like, I have half my Mars bar and I'll save a bit. However, Molly, you are wrong, because Mars bar is not the most overrated chocolate bar, and I guarantee our Instagram followers will agree with me that the most overrated chocolate bar is a Whisper. Ooh, like it's just dairy milk gone wrong. Like it's
the dairy milk with holes in it.
Well, that's it. You are paying for less of a chocolate bar. Like they sell it to you like, it's like Aero. Oh, the chocolate bar with air in it. So what? You're paying me? I'm paying a premium price for air. No, Whisper. There's just even as you bite it, it feels weird. It's like biting a sponge, a hard sponge. Not keen.
I actually do like both your answers, because with both of your answers, as I said with Molly's and Mars bar, they're both chocolate bars that I would never just go out and be like, I fancy a Whisper today, or I fancy a Mars bar.
Yeah, never.
I would only eat them if they were given to me. I really struggle with this question because I really like chocolate. I couldn't think of one that was overrated. The only thing I could think of was like, the really expensive boxes of chocolates that you like buy for people as gifts.
Yeah.
I was like, that's probably where I would go if I was going to say any kind of chocolate was overrated. But they are kind of nice, but they're just very overpriced. So that's where I was going to go with that question. Another food-related question, and very relevant at the moment. What is your go-to pancake toppings? Now I'll give you 3, because you would normally mix toppings, so you can have 3 toppings, but you don't have to use all 3.
Okay, well, spoiled for choice here, because straight away I'm having 3 pancakes, and I love that for us. I think my number one go-to is strawberries and Nutella or chocolate sauce. I'm a big fan of the chocolate strawberry combination, and I think that is my that is my go-to.
Getting the fruit in.
Exactly. 1 in 5 a day, but it tastes real nice at the same time. You can't go wrong. I think that would be my go-to. How about you, Kieran?
My go-to, and again, I'm with you. Pancake Day is probably one of my favourite days of the year. And I'm very, very particular. I get a whole sort of assembly line going, so that as I've cooked one pancake and start to eat it, I get the next one on. So it is a factory. I don't even sit down. I literally have my plate next to the cooker. So it's like pancake to plate. It's like farm to fork, but better. My top go-to topping is the classic lemon and sugar. Yeah, and now I'll give you my second, because this is all part of the process. Same plate, first pancake, lemon and sugar. Second pancake, golden syrup. Mixed in with the lemon and sugar. It's like, what is there not to love? I can tell you what there is not to love about pancakes. Savoury toppings.
I agree. See, I do agree with this.
I disagree. I love a savoury pancake. I think they're so nice. Like ham and cheese. Or even pancake, chicken. I really wish the podcast listeners could see Kieran's response to that. A chili con carne on pancake.
No, that's too far. You had me ham and cheese and chicken. I was considering it.
So good.
No, chili, no. I am going to go very quickly with my pancake toppings. Would be always banana. I love a banana pancake, but then either combining it with Nutella or Biscoff. Maybe both. I don't know. Biscoff spread or Nutella and the banana.
Did you say both?
No, yeah, maybe.
You'd put both on a pancake.
I've never done it before, but I've just kind of, the idea's just come to me.
Maybe
So
next
stay
week.
tuned for next week. Our next question is, do you have any secret talents that the FaZe team don't know about?
So James, I spent a bit of time thinking about this, and I realised for those that have met me, they may recognise that I'm somewhat of an extrovert.
Just a little bit.
Thank you. Now the challenge with that is when you're an extrovert and you realise you've got any talent, you just want to share it. And so the idea of having a secret talent, I need to think about it. Like, I've got things that I would class as talents that probably people think aren't. My jokes, my great stories, probably pretty much anything I think as a talent most are like, but a secret talent, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe that's the thing I need to discover. What is that secret talent? I can actually, something that has come to mind. I can moonwalk.
See, I didn't know that, so that counts. That's a secret talent. That's
yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
But mine is very niche. It's a little bit random, and I'm not quite sure how I discovered that this was a secret talent of mine. But I can do a really good race car impression, like F1 level. And we won't be hearing it on the podcast today because I need quite a lot of space to be able to do it, and it's still a noise. Like it's a verbal impression, but it just requires movement for me able to achieve it at the highest level.
Molly, this sounds like an excellent reel people can look forward to.
You never know. Who knows? Maybe one day.
Stay tuned.
Not making any promises. Yeah, it doesn't sound like an excellent reel. It actually sounds like a race car.
So, my secret talent. So I think this was actually hidden to me until a couple of years ago. So over lockdown, I had, I think, about a 500-day Duolingo streak doing Spanish, which I never actually practiced until a couple of years ago. I did a pilgrimage in Spain called the Camino de Santiago. And maybe I'm a bit more reserved than Kieran, so I didn't want to be that guy that was like going into this trip, I can speak Spanish, I'll be the group's translator. I didn't really mention this to anyone. And about 2 days into the trip, we were trying to buy bracelets, and no one could speak Spanish, and the bracelet didn't fit one of my friends. And so I just saw suddenly out of nowhere to the guy that was selling us bracelets go, demasiado pequeño, which means too small. And then suddenly, all of my 500 days of Duolingo Spanish comes flooding back to me for the rest of the trip. And I was able to not fluently, but I could translate and speak basic conversational Spanish, which I don't know if I'd still be able to do because I don't do Duolingo as much as I used to, but I can kind of speak a little bit of Spanish. That would be my hidden talent. My other one would be that as a kid, I used to spend a lot of time trying to teach myself football freestyle keepy-uppy moves. So I can do a few multiple round the worlds and a hop the world and a few things like that. So maybe some football keepy-uppy skill moves. That would be my other hidden talent. Our next question is, what is one idea or invention you wish you could claim to have come up with?
Oh, now when I saw this question, I honestly did not have to think. I knew exactly what I wanted. If I could have invented anything, it would have been the ring pull on a can, on a drinks can. I just think, what a great thing. All the money that guy has made. Ernie Fraze is the chap that invented it. And I just think, it's brilliant. It's everywhere. You go anywhere in the world and it is there. It's all over, all the big drinks, brands, companies, all the way down to the supermarket own. They all have it. Invented by that guy. What a legend.
Molly, what about you? What would you like to claim to have invented?
Now, this I thought was a bit of a tricky question, but I've gone for stickers for a few reasons. I love stickers is the first reason, for creative use. Then when you really think about how much we use stickers for, it's actually loads. I went to the post office today. The lady put 3 whole stickers on my parcel. It's a lot of stickers. Saves the whole use of glue, sticky tape, all of that stuff. Sticky labels, advertising. I just think that stickers have so much use, and they can have fun use and practical use, and I appreciate that about stickers. So I think I'll just invent stickers.
Our 2 inventions, James, are both fun and practical. You can have a fun drink or you can have a practical drink, just like those stickers.
What about you, James? What would you have invented?
So I went down a slightly different road on this one. I was thinking that obviously the obvious answer to this question is something that would make you a lot of money. But I went with, now this would make me a lot of money, but not for this reason. That's not why I went with it. I was going to say I would like to have invented social media, because I believe that social media could be like, well, it does have a lot of positive potential implications or effects, like being able to connect with our friends and stuff like that. We all know that. But it also, as we know, has a lot of negative impacts. And I think like the attention economy that we live in and has kind of been created as a result of social media is just so detrimental for so many of us. And I reckon if I was the person that invented social media, maybe I could speak out about these things as opposed to just monetizing people's attention and things like that. And maybe just make social media something that is almost entirely positive, as opposed to this thing that has some positive benefits, but is also hugely harmful to a lot of people's mental health for a number of different reasons. So I went with social media as my invention that I would like to lay claim to.
Yeah, that's a good one, about having that platform that you can have control over and use for good and build for good. I like that.
So we have 2 more questions, guys. They are both phase related. One is looking forward and one is looking back. So we're going to start off by looking back. Now, Kieran, for you, this will be a huge question, but what is your favourite memory from your time at phase?
Wow, this is an excellent question. And honestly, so many amazing things. But as you know, you sent these questions around the other day, James, so it really got us thinking. And this morning, I had loads of different ideas, loads of different thoughts. But I worked out one of my favourite things this morning. Every morning I make a cup of coffee, it's how I sort of get my day going. And this morning, as I opened up my cupboard, there was a cup right at the top. And it's like, often your top shelf cups, they're the ones you don't use often. Okay, maybe because they're special, or maybe because I've wanted to buy. Actually, I have this cup on the top shelf because I don't want anybody else using it. And it's a handmade cup with my name on it. And it's got a pencil message on the bottom, so it gets very carefully hand washed. And it was from a parent, from a young person I'd helped a few years ago. And even actually talk about it now makes it a little bit emotional, because I think it's a beautiful cup, but it's the meaning behind it. You know, it's one of those things, one of my sort of treasured possessions. If you come around my house, you can look at it, but you cannot use it. It is a really special cup. But yeah, that's probably one of my favourite memories.
Nice one. What about you, Molly?
Oh wow, that's a brilliant one.
That one is hard to beat.
It's hard to beat. What a great story. And I think the great thing about phase and what we do is that we have such a variety of memories. We have so much fun together. Our work that we get to do with young people, with staff, with parents, and those connections with lots of people. I think for me, over my last kind of couple of years working with phase, there's kind of 2 that stick out, both very different. The first one is I'm kind of been able to go on a couple of school trips in the last couple of years. And I think just spending those 3 or 4 days with students, with teachers, doing exciting, fun stuff, raft building and trapeze jumping and whatever else it might be. I just really hold on to those memories in that time and those relationships and connections built with students and staff, and kind of being able to see them kind of flourish over the kind of coming months and years and stuff after that. But then a second one, maybe a little bit more lighthearted, is last summer we put up a basketball hoop in our office, which is pretty cool. And we work very hard. I just want everyone on the podcast to know that we work very hard. But in between working very hard, we spent a little while trying to do some very cool trick shots off of the basketball hoop that was stuck above our office door. And I've definitely got some video footage of that, so we'll have to pull that out at some point. I think one of Kieran doing a very impressive bounce off the desk into the hoop, seeing how far away we could do it, could we throw it backwards? And it was just this moment of just having fun together and hanging out and kind of resting and pausing and having that break. But yeah, I think that's one of my favourite kind of office memories from my time at phase.
Molly, I also, in my notes for this question, I have that one written down as well. I would just like to say on that one, we were initially doing simple basketball shots, just how far back in the office you can go. And I hit the first 3 shots from different distances. I'd just like to have that known.
One shot James is, I believe, what
that was it.
You.
But then Kieran started introducing some trick shots, and I was awful at the trick shots. But I had my moment in the sun, in the office, playing basketball.
I do have a light-hearted moment that I can share with
Go
a
on, Kieran,
favourite
quickly.
one. And that's actually one summer camp we did down in Westbrook in the Isle of Wight. And we'd been doing some stuff all week. And at the end of the week, I can't remember really why, but my friend and I, Tim, that were there, we got punished. And you had all of the young people around us in the middle. And we had these terribly difficult questions by Andy Jackson. And we got covered in ice cream and baked beans and mayonnaise, flour. It was horrible, hideous, but hilarious all at the same time.
That sounds pretty cool. Pretty cool memory. I'm not sure how I'd feel about being covered in all that stuff. Like, did you try and eat any of the ice cream?
I can tell you, James, I was there actually, and it was hilarious. It's not wrong. Watching them suffer.
Just like you guys, there's so many like moments or memories I could have picked for this. I think some of my favourite memories are just like, particularly when we do primary school workshops, just seeing how excited young people are to see phase, and just some of the comments they've made at the end of workshops and saying thank you and things like that. And certainly as well, some like moments of just absolute laughter that we've had in like Christian Union at lunchtime at Hitchin Boys School. But one memory I wanted to pick as well is like, actually just after I'd started the phase, we had a pretty big fundraiser called the Everest Challenge, where we had 2 treadmills running simultaneously side by side at Archer's Gym, and we were trying to climb Everest on these treadmills. And like, for me, having just started at that time, it was like so cool to be involved in something like that, because it's the kind of thing that I love, like a bit of a physical challenge. But then just to see how many people cared about phase or wanted to like support phase and were willing to give up their time to come and walk on a treadmill for an hour, even in the middle of the night, as we had the treadmills running 24 hours. That's something that always stuck with me, and I will remember as like a really cool moment. And I got to meet so many people that were involved in phase like straight away as a result of it as well. So that would be one of my favourite moments. Looking forward now, guys, what is the thing we are most looking forward to at phase for the rest of this school year?
Okay, I'll jump in with this one. We have got a brand new and very exciting project coming up in kind of April and May time that we're very excited about, that we've been thinking about and putting together for a long time. And it's called Next Step. And Next Step is a transition kind of program for those who are leaving sixth form. So those who are kind of 17 and 18 and are going on to their next adventure, whether that's university, an apprenticeship, work, a gap year, or anything else. So it's looking at some of those kind of non-academic things around that transition and that move, whether that is budgeting or managing friendships, living away from home, managing stress, self-care, just giving adulting a go. So we're really looking forward to those kind of 3 sessions. And if you're in year 13 in the Hitchin area, then do kind of reach out, because we'd love you to come and join us. But yeah, that's something that I'm really looking forward to starting this year.
So I'm looking forward to, again, something, again, we've always at phase of, as Molly says, there's always so much going on, and we've always got things in the background that we're working on, as well as doing all the other stuff that's already planned. But it's a parents program. Over a number of years, we've been doing more and more with parents, and there's this real opportunity where take some time with parents to think about how to support their young people, their children more, just learning just some tools and some tips that young people are using that they'll be able to adapt and adopt. And so we're going to be doing that. We're going to be releasing some YouTube videos, and then looking to then have some in-person events as well that parents can get involved. So if you're a parent listening to this, why not drop us a line and we'll make sure you're first to hear.
Sounds really exciting, Kieran. And Molly, just like you said about next steps, I'm going to say step up is going to be my thing I'm looking forward to. So a little bit kind of earlier on in the journey for young people, we're running a program in the summer term for year 6 students that are perhaps slightly more anxious about secondary school. But this year, we're running the program for their parents as well. And so it's obviously a really important change and challenge that all young people are going to go through. And so having the opportunity to support those young people that might be finding that challenge extremely difficult or more difficult than others, and particularly giving them the opportunity to come to a new secondary school, meet potential new friends, meet new teachers. It's just such a blessing to have that opportunity. And so I'm excited to do that in the summer term this year, as we've done for a number of years in the past as well. So that is the end we've got through all of the questions that we got, guys. I think we should give ourselves a round of applause.
I think we've done a great job, and excited to hear all the stuff coming up as well, and get to know you guys a little bit more.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Phase Podcast. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a comment or get in touch via our social media and we'll do more Q&As like this. Make sure you subscribe on whichever platform you're listening on to be sure to never miss an episode. And finally, follow us on social media at Phase Hitchin to stay up to date with all things Phase.